G'day guys, Justin here, coming at you with another NBA Player of the Day video, this time for November 2nd, 2017. Only the two games played today. We had the Golden State Warriors with three guys in 20-point figures, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant and Steph Curry, leading a victory over the San Antonio Spurs with LaMarcus Aldridge starring 24 points, 10 rebounds. We had the Los Angeles Lakers going down in a nail-biter against Portland. We had Brook Lopez playing well in that game there. And we also had Damian Lillard and Jusuf Nurkic as well, or Jusuf Nurkic. But I've gone with LaMarcus Aldridge as my NBA Player of the Day for November 2nd, 2017. He is probably the worst NBA Player of the Day for 2017-2018 that we've had so far, with a total impact score of only 2.19. The next shortest odds there at that one are DeAndre Jordan at 0.235. Nonetheless, Aldridge, this was in a loss, and after the hot start, really didn't do much from halftime onwards, but nonetheless, his total impact score was enough for me to give him Player of the Day. Just some of those numbers don't necessarily reflect it, but nonetheless. 24 points, 10 rebounds, 5 of those offensive rebounds, but a lot of those were of his own miss, so to speak. 2 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. Again, this is where I was pointing out before, only 36.4% free throw shooting. Not a great look for someone who's a 24-10 guy consistently if he tries to. The defensive numbers were there, but when you want to look at the 2 turnovers, it does negate his passing a little bit. And 3 personal fouls, so he did have a below-average defensive night as well. But in saying that, Draymond Green certainly has just had another guy play well against him. We need to really start looking at Draymond Green a bit more in depth, I do believe. Again, back to the shooting percentages, 36.4 from the field, 50% from deep. Again, a big guy who should be able to bang down low. Obviously, his outside shooting was working well for him, but I would have tried to improve that internal game and really played a presence down against Draymond Green, who's not defending well against bigs of any sort this season, and Zaza Pachulia and JaVale McGee, who really are just laughing stocks on defense at the moment. Now, 75% from the stripe, again, a big guy who's over the 70% mark's pretty good, so he gets a pass from me there, all in 35 to 36 minutes of play. So we open it up with an open 3-point jumper at the 45, and that's good over a late closing Pachulia following the assist from Danny Green. Danny Green also another pivotal player in this game. It's just a shame that Kawhi Leonard hasn't come back. Otherwise, I don't think we'd even be worrying about talking about LaMarcus Aldridge to Danny Green. He then had a pick and pop with Patty Mills from Curry, who passed out to Powell to the corner 3. He did receive the ball back at the top, but the open Pau Gasol shot was just too tempting not to give away. So that's what he did. He then dribbled into the post on Zaza Pachulia. He maintained his dribble and drove across the lane for the one-handed score. I thought he was fouled, but nonetheless, it's Golden State. They don't call any fouls on them, and when they do, they silk and whine. We've found that out recently, and there's no exception in today's game either. We'll get to that. He was open at the top of the circle for a 3. He took a dribble close to the line and finished on a closing Pachulia following the Anderson pass. This was just one of those mystic mistakes by the Warriors where they hadn't closed everyone out on defense. Aldridge has walked down the lane. He could have put it up anywhere between the halfway line and the top of the 3-point circle, because 3-point line, because nobody was near him. But nonetheless, he managed to take that extra step in, got as close to the line as possible, nailed the shot. Very casual and very practice-esque, as they mentioned. He then tried to get a tip in following a pass from Pau Gasol, but he missed that and gave it the offensive rebound, missed that again, gave it another offensive rebound, and managed to put that in for a dunk. So again, gaining these offensive rebounds off his own misses. 4 of those 5 were off his own, I do believe, for this entire game. Again, he broke the 2-to-1 barrier, but it's how you gain those offensive rebounds that will also score as well. He then had a block on a turning and shooting Kevin Durant after backing down Brandon Paul into the post. It was just a matter of KD using his size mismatch and Aldridge stepping up and being accountable for the assignment that had just come towards him. Now, here's where I explained about the offensive rebounds. You got an offensive rebound off of a Patty Mills missed 3. There was no foul called on the shot attempt, but there was also no trouble called on what seemed to be a pretty clean block, and he just caught the ball from there. They called an offensive rebound there for that, and then he went up again to score plus the foul on Durant and made the and one. So, again, I've just explained to you there 4 of the 5 offensive rebounds of his came from his own misses. which isn't a bad thing. As a big guy, you're chasing up your own shot under the hoop. That's great, but you've missed 4 easy shots inside, and the other one you've got was just a long rebound as well. He then had the pass fake on Draymond Green over to Danny Green in the corner. Draymond fell for it pretty easily, and it left an open gap for Aldridge to make the layup straight past Klay Thompson to the hoop. He then had a catch and turn and shoot over KD in the post following a Danny Green pass. This was quite good and smart. Very simple turnaround. Saw that there was the spot up. Durant was coming at him, both 7-footers. It was an interesting duel. I'm surprised they didn't play KD on him a little bit more. I mean, they did, but a little bit more would have been handy to negate him to maybe even less than 20 points because we know how great of a defender Draymond's been this year. So after the catch and turn on KD, he was then the high post on Draymond Green, and here's something I'll explain about. He then faded away and was fouled as the shot fell. Now, whether he was fouled hard or not is another question. There was a little bit of contact in the way they ref it today. They called it. Draymond ended up falling on Aldridge, so it tells you just how close he really was as to whether it really was a foul or not. And he made the bonus shot. Now, on this call, Draymond went absolutely ballistic. He went over to Steve Kerr, cursing and swearing, and luckily the refs didn't throw anything on him. But it does beg the question that when these superstar teams really start building up and have the fame, why are they not why are they all of a sudden immune to getting calls against them? I really don't understand it. Draymond, as a defensive player of the year, should know that when you're going to play physical and, not physical defense, but close defense, and you're going to try and look after people, make sure that they don't score, that you're occasionally going to foul. Even Kawhi Leonard, a guy who has pretty much less fouls than he does steals for his career. I know he did for that last season, but pretty sure for his career he's got more steals than he does fouls. Even he occasionally fouls, but you know what? He doesn't sit there and sulk and wins. He understands that he's playing defense. Eventually you're going to foul someone. To Aldridge is a 7-foot, even to Durant, a 7-footer, they're willing to block shots and steal the ball. Of course, you're going to commit a foul. You've got to understand that's part of the game. But that was pretty much it for Aldridge. So a really quick summary there of the way he played. As I mentioned, 24 and 10 with 5 offensive rebounds. But the problem being is 4 of those 5 offensive come from his own misses, which is something you don't want to see from a big guy who's standing under the damn ring. 2 assists, but then he also had the 2 turnovers, so that negated that. 2 steals to try and gain it back, but he pretty much negated his own passing game there with that effort. 2 blocks looks great, but then he also had the 3 personal fouls. So overall, he negated his defensive play there, which was quite unfortunate considering the Warriors blew these guys out by 10 when by 20, and the Spurs had a 5-point halftime lead. 36.4% shooting. Again, those 4 misses under the hoop certainly didn't help him at all. But when you're a big guy who's 7 foot, again, 24 and 10, that can be your season average. But it's nights like this where they need LaMarcus Aldridge to step up. And he is capable. He should be in that period now. He played long enough in Portland. He's played couple of years here in San Antonio. He should realise now that at his age, when there isn't anyone in the squad, I mean, he's a 10-year vet of the league. When someone like a Kawhi Leonard's out, you are the next person to step up. And it's games like this where maybe a 35 and 12 night's needed. Maybe those turnovers need to not come. His passing game can still be there, but he needs to be careful that doesn't negate his defensive and passing abilities on the turnover side of things. Again, blocks. If you're going to block, be clean. He's already got 3 personal fouls there, which negates the 2 blocks. Again, he had a negative impact on defense and offensively with that shooting percentage, having to gain offensive rebounds for his own self. He was pretty ineffective offensively too, but as I mentioned, the total impact he had for the team, the total impact he had overall resulted in him being arguably the best player today. 50% from deep, a big guy really in this situation. Obviously, the Warriors as a team are a good defensive unit, but we've proven all throughout the year Draymond Green is not capable of guarding skilled big men. It's a fact. He's never really guarded and held a skilled big man to great numbers. I mean, even when he played the likes of LeBron James, LeBron still managed to get the points. I mean, doesn't do it so much now because of Durant, but still. 75% from the stripe, as I mentioned, you get a pass mark for a big man. If you're me, you give the big man a pass mark for a 70% shooting night from the line. 7 out of 10 is pretty good considering we hold everyone else to 85%. So 75%, a good shooting night from deep, but unfortunately didn't get to the line enough with that poor shooting percentage. Now, just to continue on here, the note with Draymond, it does continue to beg the difference about how well he's defending these guys. Obviously, he doesn't defend them for all of the game, and LaMarcus Aldridge did shoot a low percentage. But besides that minimum field goal percentage, Draymond has had another big on him that's just played really well. As I mentioned earlier in the year, Anthony Davis and Marcus Gasol and Anthony Davis, LaMarcus. Start again. Anthony Davis, DeMarcus Cousins, and Marcus Gasol have all had good games on him, and it's continued to prove that skilled big men or big men with some sort of talent are able to have good games and expose Draymond for the defender he is. I think Draymond, at best, can guard a stretch three and maybe a stay-at-home five who has no offensive capabilities or no play in the offense at all. I believe that's where his defensive numbers can be. But when you have a big man at the 4 or the 5 who can score, who can rebound, who can play defense, and generally be a playmaking option as well, such as DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis, he does suffer and he isn't able to be a, quote, defensive juggernaut. Is he a better defender than a Hassan Whiteside? Yeah, I'd say so, but I don't think he's better than a Rudy Gobert, and I certainly don't think he's better than a Kawhi Leonard. At the moment, I don't even think he's the best defender on his own damn team. Kevin Durant, for me, has that honour at the moment. But again, without that, subtracting the field goal, because LaMarcus did have a terrible night, and a lot of those possessions, as I mentioned, were him grabbing his own miss from 2 to 3 feet out. Not much contest to it, particularly if he's grabbing all those offensive rebounds. But Draymond Green, again, proving not to be the defensive force that people think he is. He'll continually to be defended by people who say he should be almost a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. But I think so far he's exposed himself as far from it. And the fact that he has a Defensive Player of the Year is probably lucky in hindsight. Just quickly, I'll go over a couple of the polls that I've had running on my Twitter. Check that out, Justin_G_Bryan. But for the past week or so, I've had a couple of polls running. The results of those have finally come in. There's still a day left on the LeBron poll, so I'll get to that in a second. But my poll as to whether Paul George has been proven to be a pretend superstar in this league has come back with a 56% result in the favour of yes. The other options were no. I catfished him and free lap dances from 11 to 12, and 11 to 12 lap dances proved to be almost as popular as no, so it tells you something about how much people disagree with Paul George and how much they agree with free lap dances from 11 to 12. The current poll I've got running at the moment only had about 20 votes on it. The other one, in contrast, had about 156. But with a 77% response rate of yes, with still a day to run, again, check that out on my Twitter, Justin_G_Bryan. LeBron passed it as a defender. 77% of you have said yes, LeBron is past it as a defender. I believe the 4 options there were yes, no, he can guard the 1 to 5, he can play one, he can guard the 1 to 5, or he can comfortably guard the 1 to 3. I mean, in previous games and previous weeks, it's proven that he probably can't do that anymore. I mean, an example where you're standing out on the perimeter after you've rotated off of the main assignment 3 or 4 times, and you're sitting out with Kylo Quinn on the perimeter while someone like a Tim Hardaway Jr. scores 34 and gives you a home loss against these 2017-18 Knicks. They're nothing special. Porzingis and Hardaway have been playing well, but there's no way a team like that should have lost. Again, poor rotational D by the Cavs, which, again, LeBron being able to rotate, get away from the assignment, get away from what he has to do defensively, is the reason we don't rate him as a defender anymore. So again, yeah, LeBron passed it as a defender. 77% of you have agreed so far. Yes. Again, check it out on my Twitter, Justin_G_Bryan. Now, I'll announce this one 24 hours out from when I do it, when I post my next video for Player of the Day. Again, might be 12 hours, who knows, depends how quickly I get through things. My next poll will be in relation to LeBron James and Michael Jordan. For many of you that don't know, come November 7th, we will have finally reached the point. Will be November 8th for Australia, but November 7th in the States. We will have finally reached the point where LeBron James has played just as many regular season games as the great Michael Jordan, 1,072. So I'm going to run a poll. It's going to run for a week. I'm going to try and get as much traffic on it as possible. So go check that out on my Twitter, Justin_G_Bryan. And I want you to simply answer, on an all-time scale, who do you have? Do you have LeBron James or Michael Jordan? I'll be doing a specific video dedicated to that. It won't be immediately after that happens. I'll wait and freeze everything in time to see where they stand. But I'll be doing a quick little video on LeBron James and Michael Jordan at the 1,072 game mark of their regular season careers. As we know, LeBron's already passed Michael in playoff games played. However, I don't think LeBron may have passed him in playoff capabilities. I'm sure you'll see how that pans out. Anyway, guys, that's been me. Thank you very much for watching the video. Hit the thumbs up button and let me know what you thought of it in the comment section. Bit of feedback on who your player of the day was. Who did I miss? What can I improve on my analysis? All that general stuff. Subscribe to the channel for more daily NBA content, and if not daily, as often as I can when I'm not interrupted. Thank you very much for watching the video. I've plugged it plenty of times, but why not do it one more time? Head over to my Twitter, Justin_G_Bryan, always talking ball, politics, anything happening in life, you name it, I'm always up for a conversation. But again, my player of the day for November 2nd, 2011. Jesus, it's going back in time. Too much LeBron talk. November 2nd, 2017 is LaMarcus Aldridge of the San Antonio Spurs in what was a disappointing 20-point loss to the Golden State Warriors. Total impact score of .219. 24 points, 10 rebounds, 5 of those offensive, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 2 assists, 36.4% shooting, not impressive, 50% from deep, not too bad at all, and 75% from the stripes, certainly a pass mark. 2 turnovers and 3 fouls, negating that defensive effort, but all in 35 minutes a game. 35 minutes to 36 minutes of play. Once again, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time for another NBA Player of the Day video.